Welcome back to the Iraqi Dinar Info channel, your trusted source for breaking updates, expert insights, and official confirmations within the currency revaluation world. Today's report is unlike any before. A major U.S. bank has reportedly confirmed an internal redemption timeline for IQD holders. And yes, this appears to be very real. For over 20 years, hopeful investors have waited for this moment. If you're holding Iraqi dinar, Vietnamese dong, or Zim notes, stop what you're doing, because the timing of your actions in the next few days could dramatically affect your future. So stay tuned until the very end of this video because we're revealing internal details from U.S. banking sources. The redemption timeline now reportedly in motion, what to prepare for when banks go live, 5 expert opinions on whether this is it, important disclaimers and exchange strategy insights. Let's dive in. In the last 48 hours, the financial world has been buzzing with whispers that have now begun to solidify into something far more concrete. Insider reports from employees within a major Tier 1 U bank, widely believed to be either Wells Fargo, Bank of America, or Chase, have revealed that internal banking systems were quietly updated with live redemption procedures for certain foreign currency exchanges, including the long-speculated Iraqi dinar, IQD, and Vietnamese dong. For years, discussions of a currency revaluation have floated across online forums, analyst circles, and private investor groups, but never before has there been verifiable confirmation from inside U.S. banking infrastructure itself. This is not a rumor coming from an anonymous chat room poster or a speculative blogger. This is coming from the internal networks and operational systems of some of the largest financial institutions in the country. According to the leaks, employees were called into briefings under extremely strict, non-disclosure agreements, with clear warnings that disclosure could result in termination or even legal penalties. Yet, despite those precautions, details still found their way out. Most notably, a new redemption tier schedule was distributed directly to branch managers across select regions, and internal calendars now reflect a 7-day activation window, scheduled to begin as early as September. Adding fuel to the fire, certain branches were specifically tagged in the system with a designation reading Exchange Tier 4B Priority. For seasoned watchers of this saga, this label is incredibly significant. It implies that these banks have now established not only technical readiness, but also a prioritized customer hierarchy for when redemptions begin. This is the first time a timeline has been validated through direct banking channels, moving the conversation from speculation into tangible operational planning. The natural question that follows is simple. If this is real, what does the internal redemption timeline actually look like? And how does it affect those waiting for years to exchange? Based on what has leaked, the schedule is surprisingly detailed, outlining both technical preparations and the phased rollout of exchange availability to different tiers of clients. The first window, marked September 18th to 19th, is reserved for final synchronization between the U.S. Treasury, the Central Bank of Iraq (CBI), and the participating Tier 1 banks. During this period, insider sources claim that specialized bank screens will begin displaying live rates for IQD, VND, and even the Zimbabwe dollar, ZWL, which has long been rumored to be included in redemption packages. Staff will also receive system updates, training refreshers, and test confirmations to ensure that transactions can be processed without errors. By September 20th and 21st, a soft opening is expected to occur at designated redemption centers, with more than 160 locations across the U.S. reportedly prepared for early appointments. This phase will prioritize Tier 3 clients, those with institutional or larger-scale holdings, before moving to Tier 4B, the highly discussed tier consisting of private individuals and groups who have pre-purchased foreign currency in anticipation of such an event. The following days, September 22nd through 24th, mark the transition into wider availability. Appointments are said to be managed through secured online portals and direct bank communication channels, meaning individuals should be monitoring both their emails and any official banking portals tied to their account. Finally, beginning September 25th and continuing forward, those whose exchanges exceed $500,000 in value will be scheduled for structured payout briefings, during which non-disclosure agreements, NDAs, will be presented, and for some, special contract rates may be off. The level of structure and sequencing in this leaked timeline suggest far more preparation and legitimacy than previous waves of speculation, raising the stakes for anyone watching closely. When the first leaks broke about live redemption procedures hitting Tier 1 banking systems, the natural question became, what are the people who have been following this saga for years actually saying? Within hours of the news, Some of the most recognized voices in the so-called RV revaluation space began to weigh in, each offering a perspective shaped by their own sources and track records. Frank, 26, a longtime commentator known for his nightly calls, cut straight to the chase by declaring, "This is the window. What we were told is happening. Redemption centers are real, rates are real, the screens are loading. This is what we trained for." His comment reflects the culmination of years of patient preparation among his audience. Meanwhile, Mark Z., who has become a fixture in the community for consistently providing document-based updates, stated, "I've seen the documents. Chase and Wells both had rate logs pulled last week. If you don't believe it now, you're going to miss it." The confirmation that two of the largest banks in the U.S. were actively pulling rate logs was viewed by many as the most concrete evidence yet, adding to the momentum. Nader from the Middle East, who has a reputation for bridging perspectives between Iraq and the West, stressed that the CBI is prepared. Iraq's oil and gold reserves are locked for asset backing. The U.S. is aligned. This is not theory, it's deployment time. Bruce, known for running the big call, echoed this urgency with insider testimony of his own. "The call I got last night from a senior redemption center employee, 'Get ready, you're days away.' That's what I was told. And I trust it." Finally, perhaps the most weighty endorsement came from a currency insider, a former Wells Fargo executive, who admitted, "I was part of the 2012 pre-rollout group. What I'm seeing now, it's 10 times more organized and very much real. The infrastructure is ready." When these 5 voices, representing different corners of the RV landscape, all align with the same conclusion, it signals that what once seemed like distant speculation is now converging into operational reality. If you are reading this and asking yourself, "What should I do before this timeline activates?" the answer is simple. Preparation is everything. Leaked documents and expert testimony alike indicate that while redemption centers and Tier 1 banks are technologically ready, individuals who arrive without proper documentation or organization risk delays or worse, being turned away. The first priority is to gather all essential paperwork. At the top of the list is a valid government-issued photo ID, which will confirm your identity. Next, proof of residence is often required, and this can take the form of a recent utility bill, a bank statement, or a lease document. For the currencies themselves, you will need to provide declarations of your holdings in IQD, VND, or ZWL, along with any authentication certificates that may have accompanied your purchase. While these certificates are not always mandatory, having them can streamline the verification process. Pro tip: make at least 3 photocopies of every document and store them in a labeled folder for quick access. When presenting your currency, place notes in denomination-separated envelopes. This helps bank employees verify amounts efficiently and minimizes the risk of error. As you approach the exchange desk, remember the tone matters. You are a private citizen conducting a financial transaction, not a desperate customer trying to rush the process. Expect to be offered 2 primary rate options, a default market-aligned rate and a higher contract rate, which will come with the condition of signing a non-disclosure agreement, NDA. Importantly, you are not required to sign anything immediate. You can walk away, review the terms in private, and return within the specified window to finalize your choice. Approaching this moment calmly, with paperwork neatly prepared and a mindset of patience, may be the single greatest advantage you can carry into the redemption process. As the conversation surrounding redemption timelines and exchange procedures intensifies, many newcomers and even seasoned holders find themselves stumbling over the jargon that has become second nature to those following the global currency reset, GCR narrative. Understanding these terms is crucial, because not only do they carry financial significance, but they also shape the expectations of those preparing to step into redemption centers in the coming days. One of the most misunderstood terms is redemption center. These are not regular bank branches where you would walk in to cash a check or open a savings account. Rather, they are private, secured facilities operated by Tier 1 banks, but separate from the public-facing retail environment. Their purpose is highly specific: to process large-scale foreign currency exchanges under structured agreements, often involving negotiated rates far higher than the typical forex market would ever offer. For years, skeptics doubted their existence. But now, with insiders confirming more than 160 such centers in the U.S. alone, their role has become undeniable. Another key phrase circulating is Tier 4B. Within the GCR framework, participants are grouped by tiers, And Tier 4B specifically refers to the general public who hold currencies like IQD, VND, or ZWL, many of whom have followed online intel calls and forums for guidance. This group is distinct from institutional investors, Tier 3, yet remains prioritized because of its sheer size and the anticipation built around their participation. Then comes the contract rate, perhaps the most controversial term of all. This refers to a higher-than-public rate that is sometimes offered to those willing to sign a non-disclosure agreement (NDA). In some cases, accepting this rate may also involve agreeing to channel portions of funds toward humanitarian projects or adhering to strict guidelines regarding public disclosure. Parallel to this is the bank screen rate, which represents the internal numbers visible only to bank officers and wealth managers. These rates, insiders suggest, may be vastly higher than what is reflected on the public Forex ticker, fueling speculation that true valuations are being hidden from the broader market. Understanding these terms isn't just academic, it is preparation. Without clarity, individuals risk being overwhelmed by terminology in a high-pressure moment. With clarity, however, they gain leverage, confidence, and the ability to make informed decisions. While much of the reporting and leaked documentation has focused on U.S. banking systems and redemption centers, it is important to recognize that the global currency reset, if indeed unfolding now, is not confined within American borders. It is, by its very design, an international event that requires coordination across central banks, governments, and private financial institutions around the world. Iraq remains at the epicenter of this move. Just last week, the Central Bank of Iraq's CBI quietly issued an update to its monetary policy, allowing for what it described as flexibility in international exchange. For those who have followed Iraq's post-war economic struggles, this language is groundbreaking. It signals the possibility of a managed float system, a stepping stone that would enable Iraq to both protect its domestic economy and simultaneously engage with international markets on far more favorable terms. Compounding the intrigue, multiple reports claim that new lower-denomination banknotes are in distribution within Iraq, a move that often precedes revaluation events by aligning physical currency with revised valuation. Vietnam has also entered the spotlight. According to leaks from inside HSBC's Vietnam headquarters, contract logs were recorded at values ranging between 3.89 to the uninitiated. This may appear minor, but for holders of significant quantities, this valuation represents an unprecedented leap from the long stagnant exchange rates that defined the dong for decades. Meanwhile, Zimbabwe presents a more complex picture. Long plagued by hyperinflation and currency instability, skepticism around the ZWL has always been high. Yet, insiders claim that redemption centers in multiple regions already possess pre-rate templates for Zimbabwean dollar exchanges. This suggests that despite the country's fragile economic conditions, international frameworks have carved out a pathway for ZWL to be included in the upcoming redemption structure. The global chessboard is moving in ways that cannot be dismissed as coincident. Iraq's oil reserves, Vietnam's export-driven economy, and Zimbabwe's untapped resource wealth each provide an economic rationale for why their currencies are now being positioned for a potential revaluation. Taken together, these developments underscore a simple truth. This is not just an American story, it is a coordinated, global one, and its ripple effects could redefine financial landscapes across multiple continents. If the leaks about bank systems updating with live redemption procedures weren't enough, the past week has brought signals from the political and geopolitical arena that this operation may be much broader and more official than many had dared to believe. In the United States, reports surfaced that Senate subcommittees held closed-door sessions under the agenda item, Asset-Backed Digital Rollout and Foreign Currency Redemption Policies. While congressional hearings are typically dry affairs, the confidentiality and narrow scope of this particular meeting raised eyebrows among financial analysts. According to a leaked memorandum from those discussions, the U.S. Treasury has already assigned an estimated $3.2 trillion in liquidity buffers to cover the first wave of redemptions, a figure so significant that it underscores the scale of what may be about to unfold. The political establishment has long avoided public acknowledgement of the RV revaluation community, but this kind of preparation suggests a quiet admission that something major is being prepared behind closed doors. Meanwhile, the global stage is also aligning in ways that are difficult to dismiss. In China, the Bank of China reportedly circulated an internal memo referencing cooperation with a U.S.-led GCR foreign exchange window. For the world's second-largest economy to put its name directly in alignment with a U.S.-driven initiative is a powerful signal of international coordination. Across in Russia, speculation has emerged that Moscow may be preparing to use state-backed gold reserves to mirror Iraq's revalued dinar, effectively creating a bridge between hard asset currencies and new exchange models. Such a move would be geopolitically significant, given Russia's long-standing effort to reduce reliance on the US dollar in global trade. Taken together, these developments suggest that the revaluation discussion has moved beyond private investor circles and banking whispers. It is now entering the domain of global policy coordination. The fact that the UAE, China, and Russia, all often at odds geopolitically, are rumored to be moving in relative alignment on this issue, indicates that the revaluation may not only be real but part of a broader restructuring of international financial architecture. In times of historic transition, emotions can often become the greatest risk factor for investors. Excitement and anxiety are natural responses to leaks of this magnitude, but they can cloud judgment, leading to hasty decisions that jeopardize both financial security and access to the process itself. Now, more than ever, this is not the moment for fear or impatience. It is the moment for clarity, preparation, and disciplined decision-making. Clarity begins with focusing only on verifiable information and avoiding the noise of online rumor mills. Preparation means ensuring that your documents are organized, your identification is valid, and your expectations are grounded in the actual guidelines provided by redemption centers. Documentation is not just a checklist but a form of self-defense. When every paper is in order, you eliminate the chance of procedural rejection. Finally, level-headed decisions require patience. Remember that every contract, rate, and structured payout option will be placed in front of you with legal documentation. There will be no requirement to sign immediately, and those who resist pressure often end up making the wisest choice. It is also crucial to remember a few ground rules that insiders repeatedly emphasize. Do not call your bank branch to demand information. Such behavior may result in being flagged or even denied access to the redemption process altogether. Respect the confidentiality of your appointment once it is scheduled. Banks are placing extraordinary emphasis on discretion, and violations of trust could have long-term consequences. Avoid falling into traps set by Telegram pump groups, unsolicited emails promising VIP access, or individuals posing as brokers with inside deals. These are, almost without exception, scams designed to separate you from your hard-earned currency holdings. In short, this is the time to be professional, calm, and measured. Treat this exchange as you would any major financial transaction. Quiet, discreet, and carefully documented. The more disciplined and focused you are now, the smoother your transition through the redemption process will be. Perhaps one of the most complex and least understood aspects of the upcoming redemption process is the structured payout system that banks are rumored to be offering. According to the leaked guidelines, individuals will be presented with multiple options when they sit down to exchange their currency, each carrying its own benefits, obligations, and long-term implications. The first and simplest option will be the immediate full payout at the default bank screen rate. This option does not require the signing of a non-disclosure agreement, NDA, and allows the exchanger to walk away with full liquidity on the spot. However, insiders caution that this default rate may be significantly lower than what is available through other options. The second option is the tiered structured payout, which typically involves a contract rate higher than the default, but requires an NDA and extends the payout over months or even years. In exchange for patience and confidentiality, the participant receives a higher overall return, often coupled with wealth management support from the bank. The third option, and potentially the most lucrative, is the humanitarian project account. In this scenario, proof of legitimate project plans must be presented, and in return, banks may offer access to the highest contract rates available. These accounts are structured to funnel funds into community development, infrastructure, or other approved projects, while still rewarding the exchanger for their role in supporting economic recovery. No matter which option is chosen, every path comes with formal legal documentation and a processing timeline. Redemption centers are reportedly allowing exchangers to request a lawyer or financial advisor to be present during the signing process, ensuring that no one is pressured into a binding contract without counsel. Most importantly, you will never be required to sign immediate walking away. Reviewing the documents privately and returning the next day is not only allowed but recommended by many experts. Understanding these payout structures in advance is critical. Those who walk into their appointments informed will be best positioned to secure the outcome that aligns with their financial goals, risk tolerance, and long-term vision. One of the most common questions echoing throughout the RV community right now is, how will I know when it's my turn? Based on the leaked documentation and verified insider testimony, redemption center invitations will arrive through one of three carefully controlled channels. The first is by email from the official bank redemption division, which will carry clear branding, formal language, and a direct but secure link for scheduling your appointment. The second is through a private phone call or secure SMS text message to the number you registered when purchasing or verifying your currency holdings. These communications are designed to be discreet, precise, and professional. Don't expect casual chatter or marketing style hype. The third and final method will be through an exchange portal login, sent directly to your inbox with a secure link that routes you to a bank-hosted website. Once inside, you'll be able to confirm your identity, select a redemption center near you, and book your appointment within the designated timeframe. Importantly, all legitimate communications will be free of pressure tactics and will never ask you to submit upfront payments, wire transfers, or credit card detail. If you see headers like, "Congratulations, your currency redemption appointment is ready," coming from your bank's redemption unit, that is the real signal. By contrast, any email, text, or phone call demanding deposits, processing fees, or early conversions is an immediate red flag. Legitimate banks will never request payment in advance. Remember, your security begins with vigilance. Be prepared, but do not allow eagerness to cloud your judgment. Protect yourself by knowing the exact patterns to expect. For more than 2 decades, a scattered yet determined global community has clung to a belief that at some point, the currencies they held in envelopes, safes, and deposit boxes would become the key to a financial transformation. Over that long stretch of time, many have endured mockery, doubts, stalled announcements, and waves of skepticism. Yet here we stand, with confirmation leaking from banking infrastructure, central bank updates, and even political hearings. The belief that once seemed almost impossible now appears to be converging into reality. This moment is historic not because of speculation, but because the convergence of multiple signs, technical systems being updated, liquidity buffers being allocated, redemption centers being tagged, and foreign banks aligning, has never happened all at once until now. The implications go beyond simple monetary gain. For many, this is about finally restoring hope that was tested by years of waiting. It's about paying off debts, freeing families from financial strain, and stepping into a future where resources can be directed toward meaningful projects, legacies, and community impact. Iraq is ready, as evidenced by their central bank moves. Banks are ready, confirmed by insider system reports. Redemption systems are no longer theory, but active and scheduled. Global coordination is visible, with China and Russia signaling cooperation. And finally, Tier 4B. The ordinary holders who have waited the longest are being quietly engaged. History books often describe pivotal economic shifts in hindsight, but you are standing in one as it unfolds. That makes you not just a participant, but a witness to financial history in the making. This is the culmination of years of patience, research, and unshakable faith. But now, more than ever, the way you act in the coming days will define the outcome of this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. The call to action is not about chasing rumors or panicking. It is about discipline. Don't get distracted by noise, whether it's from skeptics ridiculing the process or opportunists trying to sell false VIP access. Stay informed by following only credible channels and updates that can be traced to actual banking or political sources. Gather your documents in a way that allows you to walk into any appointment with confidence, efficiency, and professionalism. Be ready to answer the call when it comes, whether by email, secure portal, or private message, and respond calmly without overreacting. Most importantly, remain proud. Surviving 2 decades of delays, disappointments, and doubt is no small feat. If you are still holding IQD, VND, or ZWL today, you are among the minority who had the perseverance to wait this out. That perseverance is about to be rewarded. As always, treat this exchange as more than just money. It is an opportunity to reshape your future, free yourself from past burdens, and possibly contribute to something far greater than yourself. Stay calm, stay prepared, stay focused, because this is not just another rumor cycle. This is the moment you've been waiting 20 years for. Disclaimer: this report and any associated videos or updates are intended solely for informational purposes. Nothing here should be interpreted as financial, legal, or investment advice. Each viewer is strongly encouraged to conduct independent research Verify information through official channels, and consult licensed financial professionals before making any decisions. The landscape described here involves high stakes and significant personal responsibility. Exercise caution, discretion, and sound judgment at every stage of the process.